Radio, V81 Radio. V81 Radio, V81 Radio. V81 Radio, V81 Radio. Basta hits all Pinoy. Kahit nasaan ka man ito'y mapapakinggan. V81 Radio, V81 Radio. 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 V81 Radio, V81 Radio.
Our Almighty God, Creator of heaven and earth, Father and lover of our soul, you sit on your throne of mercy and rule with your love and faithfulness. You are full of grace. We acknowledge your presence in our lives. Nothing is hidden in your eyes, even our challenges and struggles in life. We come to you with faith. We ask not only for our daily spiritual bread, but to seek your forgiveness and undeserving favor to heal our land, our family members, our friends and neighbors, even our enemies with COVID-19 and other diseases. Holy Spirit, help us to deepen our faith and see the opportunity to believe, obey, and worship as we face this pandemic. You are Lord and God. Encourage us and change our hearts, not to fear, but to be full of hope and find ourselves praying and meditating your word. We believe no works of the enemy prosper to your children. Abba, Father, we believe that your Son Jesus Christ is Lord and Savior. He is the truth in our salvation. Hear our prayers, O Lord, and most of all, not our will, but thy will be done. We pray this in Jesus' name, the name above all names, who was and is to come. Amen.
Walang kasing saya ang Paskong Pinoy. Dumaan man ang problema at pandemya, kayang-kayang lampasan basta't nagdadamayan at nagmamahalan.
Ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas!
Tuloy na tuloy pa rin ang Pasko dito sa V81 Radio, South Manila.
Ito ang paborito ng bawat Pilipino. Basta all hits, all Pinoy, panalo. Merong kwentong iyakan at tawanan. Kahit nasaan ka man ito'y mapapakinggan. One radio, one radio. Ito ang radio mo. Ito ang radio ko. One radio, one radio. Dahil mahal namin kayo. One radio, one radio. Para sa inyo ito, one radio.
The views and opinions expressed in the following program are those of the program anchors and producers and do not necessarily reflect the policies and position of this station. Discover the best-kept secrets in metaphysics, law of attraction, science, and spirituality, and listen to practical mystics from around the world. Let's open Pandora's box with Reverend Reg Stan, your metaphysical minister, here in Practical Magic, your practical mystic source, only here on V81 Radio, South Manila.
Satnam, everyone. My name is Reverend Reg, and I'm here for Practical Magic, and I'm your host for this show, where we remind you that you are actually the magic you've been waiting for. And here in the show, we get to talk about metaphysics, meditation, the power of the spoken word, and anything about consciousness and the law of attraction. But before I proceed, I want to invite all of you for a simple affirmation and meditation. So I encourage all of you to go to your meditation spot. All right. Gently close your eyes. And use the right palm to touch the heart. Breathe in and out through the nose while you're touching the heart. Feel your connection to your heart. And let's affirm, I love myself for all that I was, all that I am, and all that I want to become. I am worthy because God made me so. And join me for chanting 3 times, one for ourselves, another one for someone we are praying for, and the rest for our global village. Satnam. 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 Take one last deep breath. Feel the sound integrate in every cell of your body, every organ and every aspect of your life. And gently open your eyes. Satnam to all of you. I love doing that, especially when we're tuning in all together. And it's one of the best ways actually to tap into ourselves. And I'm actually very excited tonight because I have the author of Tap Into You and the founder of Tap Into You, Reflections of an Angel, and the creative genius behind Dip Into You and Namaste Sweet Thing, which is actually our topic for tonight. And I'm very happy to introduce to all of you Dr. Anita Powell and her very powerful background She's a metaphysical counselor, vibe coach, and international spoken word. And a lot of people actually have good things to say about her. Number one, from Jay Johnson, your words take us to another level. And another one is, you will not only be touched by Anita's words in this book, but you can feel the love and vibration in these words. She reaches out to your mind, heart, and soul. You'll be able to find yourself in those moments in time that she shares so openly, embracing fear, loss, despair, joy, love, peace, death, and rebirth. Her words radiate renewed hope and healing within a powerful presence. And actually, if you visit her website, you'll read more testimonials about her and her work. And I also have my personal sharing towards the end of the show. So stay tuned. And at the same time, here's another one. I felt this was smooth, had me connected to my feminine spirit and embracing the eclectic I am as a woman. Thank you, Anita, for creating such silky, smooth message, reminding me of the work of our greats. And this is by Maya Angelou and many others. So, good morning, Dr. Anita. I know it's morning in your time zone, and it's actually evening here in Manila, Philippines. So, how are you doing today?
Good morning, Sadnam. Good afternoon. Good evening, everyone. I am doing wonderful. I am just blessed and honored, my son, to be with you this morning, this evening, this afternoon. So I'm floating on clouds right now. So thank you.
Wow. It's our pleasure to actually have you here, and I'm very excited because a lot of things got moved actually, but it all works together for the highest good in the end, which is today. And there are a couple of things that we want to talk about, but before I proceed, I know a bit of your background, but I know our viewers, of course, would like to know more about you, especially metaphysics. So I want to know your story and what for you is metaphysics. So how did you get started with metaphysics, and what to you is its practical value?
Absolutely. Thank you so much. First of all, I'd like to share, because I always start this way. First of all, I am a mom of beautiful twin girls, 2 sons, handsome sons-in-law, and grandma precious 5. So I always start out first and foremost, other than being a child of the Creator. Metaphysics, I started with metaphysics in the 80s. Mm-hmm. What brought me there, of course, is the universe. However, before discovering, having blessed with learning about metaphysics, see, I've always been on a spiritual journey. I could say that spiritual journey began when I was 16, but I know it was before then. Even when thinking, and I was thinking today, I said, no, you know what? That spiritual journey has been with me as long as I can remember, because I've always wanted to know what my connection was with everything. Mm-hmm. And growing up, the concept of for me, I can only speak for me, the concept of, even as a child, that there is a being in heaven which is outside of me, and then there is a man which is the supreme being. As a child, that was difficult for me to understand. Mm-hmm. Number one, because I'm a girl. I was a girl, and I said, well, and I would hear how we are created in the image. So I said, well, something must be wrong with me because I'm a girl. Why would God, He create me as a girl? And the image is of a man. So I do believe that along with other things that occurred in my life, that was a component of a lack of self-esteem. Because if I'm female and male is the it, then I must be that man. And then also growing up saying, we are, you're a sinner, you're born a sinner, this and that. So that toppled on top of it. So my journey was always, very important for me, that I wanted to know my connection with I didn't accept that man thing. I didn't accept that with the universe, with whatever it was. I didn't know. And even back then, I did not know that I was trying to tap into. I was trying to tap into a truth, but it just stored there. So in the 80s, me and my brother both. My brother, he chose Islam. He is Muslim. He's avid. I'm so proud of him. He's an avid Muslim. We went through Hinduism, Judaism, Zoroastrianism, all of them studying. I have my Gahanzan on top of my altar because I am a religious pluralist. You know, I am the religions and the spirituality and accept, honor, understand, and love the other types of religion, because spirituality is a whole different kind of thing.
Yeah.
So we would go on our journey. I was crowned with in Buddhism, you know, with the crowning of the sword and everything. And I embraced all of that. It was in the 1980s, still I was searching. I said, okay, wait, but there's that separate thing, you know, okay, how do I connect? How am I connected with all of this? Even at the age of 16, I remember walking down the street, and that led me to a really shadowed path, or on a certain part of a journey that praised the Creator that it did not transpire. But I remember being 16, and I'm looking up into the heavens, saying, I felt feeling lost. Like, okay, I don't know this. I'm lost. I'm alone. I have my family, but what is it I'm searching for? And the pronoun, the only thing I could think of is I'm searching for you. I want to feel you. And the absence of that feeling just drew me to even a little, and I'm an artist too, so, you know, they say an artist can be temperamental and can experience and I know I can. That's why I every precious moment that I'm happy, I embrace it, because I know the abyss. I know the abyss, and I know I can get there. That's part of me, and I accept that. So what that path, along with those other things, led me to the universe, you know, spirit leading people, and started talking. And finally a sister said, hey, I invite you to our service. And it was Unity Church on 6 Mile in Detroit, Unity Church on 6 Mile, we call it West McNichols and Woodward. And it was then when I'm sitting up in the with the benches with the rest of the congregation, and when the head sister, when that minister said, okay, it is now time for meditation. I had not heard of meditation before. I had not practiced meditation at all. When we went into that meditation, I cried, because that was the first time that I felt a connection, and it wasn't a pronoun, it was a feeling. I felt something, and I said, thank you, I'm home.
Wow.
I'm
you
home.
know, I love what you said about connection, because one of the things that I really want to impart to our audience, especially as we go along our conversation, is having that personal relationship with God. Because like you mentioned earlier about this image and likeness of God, from my point of view and my experience when I was growing up, it always sounded so good, but it didn't really have meaning until I learned new thought, metaphysical principles. And I resonate with what you mentioned about unity, because we know that feeling that connection with the divine within us, and unity actually puts a lot of concepts together, brings people together, brings people in divine harmony. And that's why I resonated with what you mentioned earlier. And especially, I think for every human being, regardless of being a professional metaphysician or not, everybody's actually a metaphysician. It's just a matter of recognition. But for you, How long have you been a professional metaphysician?
Professional, it was, I would say, when I started going to get my bachelor's, and that was 2014, I believe, when I entered the studies of international metaphysical ministries. I believe that's when the profession came, yeah. And even maybe even before then, my son, because, well, and you know what? It depends on how we define professional. I guess professional means when you first gotten paid, or I don't know. So that's a relative term. So I'll go with that. When I started thinking academically that I want to learn the academics of metaphysics. So I'll say around 2014. Yeah.
Awesome. How did you feel different? Because you've been an enthusiast about spirituality and understanding the nature of God for such a long time before deciding to take a bachelor's degree. What really changed for you when you got your degree?
Well, what changed for me, and when I got the degree, it changed because it reinforced what I had been praying for and then listening to. Because at one point, I decided there are many holy books. Okay, there's the Vesta, Bhagavad Gita. There's many different, the Tao, the Holy Bible. Yeah. I chose for Christianity, the Holy Bible. So I read between Genesis and Revelation, and it was until I embraced metaphysics that I actually started really reading the great metaphysician, Yeshua, where Yeshua says, Jesus says, the kingdom lives within, and then he goes on to say, and that kingdom is within. Yeah, that was another aha for me, because when I read that, I said, that's the.
This is Practical Magic, your practical mystic source. Only here on V81 Radio, South Manila. Are you ready to explore a new kind of music? Yung bang kakaiba na hindi mo pa napapakinggan, mga bagong artist? Nagugulat sa inyo sa kanilang awit at tugtugan. Discover them, hear them in Napalm Hour. Ang Napalm ay ang new all-Pinoy alternative music source na para sa kakaibang musika. Alternative artists and bands all the time. Catch them at Napalm Hour. Mondays through Fridays, 12 noon to 1 p.m. and 8 to 9 p.m. Streaming live on V81 Radio mobile app. Kaya i-download mo na for free. Now na! Now back to Practical Magic, your practical mystic source. Only here on V81 Radio, South Manila.
Satnam, everyone. My name is Reverend Reg, and I'm here again for Practical Magic, where we talk about metaphysics, consciousness, science, and spirituality. And today I'm so excited because one of the topics that's really close to my heart is talking about gender, sexuality, and spirituality. And today I have one of my colleagues whom is very dear to me. His name is Father Carel, but I'll introduce more of him later. For now, I just invite everyone to simply close your eyes. And let's slow down a bit. Take a deep breath in. and out. Please rub both palms vigorously and touch the heart. And together, let's affirm I love myself for all that I was, all that I am, and all that I want to become. I am worthy because God made me so. And together, let's chant Satnam 3 times. Inhale to begin. Satnam. 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 Take a deep breath in and out. Allow the vibration of the sound to permeate every cell of your body, every organ, and every aspect of your life. And we are so grateful that we're going to have this wonderful opportunity to talk about things that are very dear to our hearts. And when you are ready, you may open your eyes. All right. Satnam, everyone. You know, a couple of weeks ago, Pope Francis had a very thought provoking statement, and it's about the civil union. And it's something that I have discussed with my colleagues in a thread on Facebook in one of our groups. And it's because of that I was inspired to invite Father Carel. Initially, we wanted to talk about will and understanding, but it's actually very much related to what's happening right now. But before we proceed with the interview, I just want to introduce to you a very talented and very precious colleague of ours in the International Metaphysical Ministry. And, you know, before he became an ordained priest, he was actually a network engineer and then a legal business analyst. And now he holds a PhD in holistic life coaching from the University of Sedona and is registered as a doctor of ethnomedicine in South Africa. He actually assists people from all walks of life to develop life skills and overcome personal obstacles through coaching and counseling. And as a director of the Golding Institute, he works with some of the leading integrative doctors in the world to help educate both the public as well as the practitioners in the art of integrative medicine. In this field, he is seen as the authority in the field of photobiomodulation, the use of light and laser in and around the body for treatment of disease. After surviving breast cancer himself twice, he developed a special interest in counseling and coaching people who are affected by dreaded disease. Both the patient and those close to them, his patients have the benefit of his truly unique and special nature, which allows him to create a safe and nurturing space for the exceptional outcomes. He is an ordained he is an ordained minister in the Catholic Order of the White Robe Monks of Saint Benedict and believes in bringing the nature of spiritual healing into every session that he does, no matter the religious background of his client. Part of his ministry is working with the LGBTQI community and sharing the message of unconditional love that Jesus Christ told us to show one another. To this end, he offers the sacraments to any person who asks them. His additional skills in natural healing include being a Reiki master, certified NLP practitioner, and certified core regeneration practitioner. And he is also a gifted concert pianist, and his knowledge of sound and vibration adds a unique dimension to his healing and counseling practice. When at home, Carel-Piet indulges in his practice of Aikido and making music on and off stage. So anyway, those are all the things that are about Father Carel. So without further ado, let's all welcome Fr.Carel-Piet Eeden.
Hello, Reverend Red.
Satnam, Father.
Good evening, your country. It is such a blessing to finally be on the show and be able to share some love.
Yes, exactly. And I'm very happy because I know that South Africa has very interesting things to discuss at the moment, especially when it comes to the LGBTQI topic.
Yes.
So, before anything else, Father, how are you doing today and what's the weather like in South Africa?
It is a fantastically warm day, and I am doing fantastic. Thank you so much. I am celebrating my 1 year anniversary this week of being a priest. So today is
Awesome.
all about just giving thanks and
Wow.
celebrating the love of God.
Wow, thank you for sharing that, Father. And congratulations as well, and happy anniversary to your priesthood.
Thank you.
So, Father Carol, when I met you, one of the things that really sparked interest in me is that you're an openly gay Catholic priest. And, for some time, I was really, careful about that particular topic because here in the Philippines, there are a lot of LGBTQI people closeted and are openly gay as well. But you coming into the picture is actually an inspiration for me, especially when you talk about our oneness and our personal relationship with God. So, anyway, Father, because I read that you have such a long list of accomplishments, what made you decide to enter priesthood?
I don't think it was really a decision per se.
Mm.
In South Africa, when you are called to become a shaman or a sangoma, they call it twasa, and you become sick until you listen to the call. And for
Mm.
me, I just got the calling,
Yes.
and it just naturally happened. I wasn't really looking for it, but after becoming a minister in the Ministry of Metaphysics, where we met, uh, I wanted to just do weddings and help more people. And in South Africa, our laws dictated that you needed to then be part of a bigger community. And through a long journey, I then chanced on my family, and that is the White Robe Monks of St. Benedict here
Mhm.
in South Africa. And we have abbeys across the world, a couple of them. And a fascinating thing was that although we are a Catholic community, we are slightly different to the Roman Catholic community, where
Mhm.
we say that we only have two rules. And the first
Mhm.
rule, because we are in a monastic order, the first rule says that listen, and that is the first word of the rule of Saint Benedict.
Wow.
So we are taught to get quiet and listen. And then the second rule that we believe in is that Jesus never said no to anyone.
Nice.
And
And
because of that, we then have our ministry and we can minister, and we believe that we are called to minister to everybody.
yes, thank you for affirming it, Father. And I would like to know actually, the brave thing about you is that you are an openly gay Catholic priest and you're also about to get married. And
Yes.
congratulations on that. I'm
Thank
very
you.
grateful that you're actually representing the LGBTQ community in our spiritual world. And how do people in South Africa actually react to the LGBTQ community? Are they tolerant of LGBTQ people?
So I think as in any country, you get the midway and the two extremes. You get people who are very pro the community and who want to move or past the concept of labels. You know, where
Yeah.
you start seeing each other just as a human being rather
Yes.
than being identified by your sexuality. So
Mhm.
that is on the one side. And then on the other side, unfortunately, we still have a lot of hate going on. We
Mhm.
have people, it is called corrective rape, who rape people in order to force them to see what it is like to be with a real man, for example. So we
Really?
have those two complete opposites, yes. So even though we have this beautiful, beautiful constitution of ours saying that everybody is equal and we need to recognize that,
Yeah.
and it is written in the constitution that you are not allowed to look down on somebody or to deny them their basic human rights because of their sexuality.
Yeah.
So it is written there, it is our law, but sometimes, unfortunately, it still doesn't get practiced. So
Yes.
we have both of those extremes here in South Africa.
I find it very disturbing that you mentioned about corrective rape, because I actually read about it, but now that I'm hearing it from you, of course, I know that it's something that is coming from a reliable source. So I'm very fortunate in a way that I live in a country where people are somewhat more respectful of the LGBTQI community. But like what you mentioned earlier, and I want to connect it to what you said earlier, that the white robes monk of South Africa, did I get it right? Father Carel? Hello? Am I hearing you? Hi, Father. Hi. Hi.
We'll be back shortly. This is Practical Magic, your practical mystic source. Only here on V81 Radio, South Manila. Pagpatak ng 7, dapat lahat nakatutok sa amin. Catch these programs at 7 p.m. Pacific Time. Talk Shop Asia Global, USA Edition, with Rolly Pagaspas and Rosario Cajucom Bradbury. Home Not Alone, Sounds from Home, with Papa Gio. And Freedom in Christ, with Felsen. It's all about entrepreneurship, entertainment, and enlightenment. Back-to-back programs at 7. LA at 7. LA at 7. Exclusively on V81 Radio, Los Angeles. Are you ready to explore a new kind of music? Yung bang kakaiba na hindi mo pa napapakinggan, mga bagong artist? Nagugulat sa inyo sa kanilang awit at tugtugan. Discover them, hear them in Napalm Hour. Ang Napalm ay ang new all-Pinoy alternative music source na para sa kakaibang musika. Alternative artists and bands all the time. Catch them at Napalm Hour. Mondays through Fridays, 12 noon to 1 p.m. and 8 to 9 p.m. Streaming live on V81 Radio mobile app. Kaya i-download mo na for free. Now na! Kabayan, nahuhomesick ka ba? I-download na ang aming mobile app at mag-enjoy sa mga kantang tatak Pinoy and feel like you're home. The V81 Radio mobile app, available in the App Store and Google Play Store. V81 Radio mobile app, free now, free forever. Now back to Practical Magic, your practical mystic source. Only here on V81 Radio, South Manila.
Satnam, everyone. My name is Reverend Reg, and I'm here again for Practical Magic at V81 Radio, South Manila. And we're here with Father Carel, where we are discussing about LGBTQI issues and his amazing order called the White Robe Monks of South Africa. And I like what he mentioned about Jesus never said no to anyone. So we want to hear more about it and how it's related to the LGBTQI community and how it should actually be a transformative experience, creating more respect, balance, and harmony in our community. So, hi, Father Carel.
Hello again.
Yes. Going back to our topic where we're talking about the LGBTQI community, and you mentioned that in terms of the life of Jesus of Nazareth and that he didn't say no to anyone. Father Carol, please expand on this statement and how does it relate to our LGBTQI situation around the world?
Okay. So if we can say for sure that Jesus never said no to anybody, that then and our premise as the order is that what gives us the right to deny people access to the sacraments
Yes.
if Jesus never denied them those rights?
Yes.
We believe very strongly that Jesus gave us two commandments. Jesus says, love God and love each
Mm.
other.
Yes.
And I cannot be a Christian or a Catholic and say
Yes.
I love and yet I hate somebody who is different to me, different
Yes.
in any way. I mean, sexual orientation, um, color, race, even other religions.
Yes.
We are not told by Jesus to look down on each other, to discriminate on each other. We are told by Jesus to love. And that's it. There are no extra rules. He says love.
Yes. Thank you so much for that, Father Carol, because I am concerned now about what it means that Jesus never said no to anyone because I live here in the Philippines and all my growing up years, there's always been this mindset where if you are gay, you're an LGBTQI person, and if you are in a relationship with the same sex, then you're separating yourself from God. So all my adolescent years, I grew up insecure and I actually felt less valuable than the straight friends that I had. So it's so important to me actually, to put closure on the things that I felt insecure about. And I'm very sure that a lot of our viewers will actually be able to relate to this because prior to us having this conversation, someone who's much older than me actually was posting something on Facebook, feeling really bad or disappointed because of his situation with his parents. And he's actually an adult already. And
Mm.
the parents are still very conservative. So that's why I feel such a sense of obligation for the two of us to talk about this
Yes.
because we want to be able to liberate the rest of the collective from the erroneous thinking that have been passed on. Because I think naturally, all of us, we want to be close to God. And Jesus being a central figure, especially here in the Philippines, we
Mhm.
want to be close to God and we want to find out what's really valid and not as far as the Catholic paradigm is concerned because majority of Filipinos are actually Catholics or Christians,
Mm.
and that's why this is something this is a topic that I feel I really need to pioneer in terms of discussing,
Yes.
especially we talk about science and spirituality.
Yeah.
And another thing that I want to open up, I hope it's okay to ask this question, Father,
Mm.
because I know that based on our conversation in the past, growing up as an openly gay person, I had to deal with, uh, certain situations where I was discriminated. And I'm not sure if you've had the same experience. So, for you, was there any form of any uncomfortable situation like that?
Um, so not when I was out. Interestingly enough, I shared with you guys and with Reverend Cindy a while ago a quite a personal thing that happened to me growing up, where um, I had my head pushed down into a urinal um, because I was not a sports performer and I was soft spoken, and that was some of the bullying and the discrimination that I had. Um, After coming out, I must say that not really. Maybe I
Mm-hmm.
chose not to see that form of discrimination. I
Mm-hmm.
also have been extremely blessed to be in a community and to always have people around me that accept me for who and what I am. And
Yes.
it is one of the biggest lessons then to maybe surround yourself with people who don't care
Yeah.
about something as insignificant
Yeah.
as sexuality. And that being said, I mean, sexuality is not insignificant, but when it comes to how we discriminate and how we label people, it is supposed to be nothing.
Yes. Thank you so much for answering that question, Father Carol, because I'm very sure that whatever experience you had back then, I'm very sure it was uncomfortable, and some of our viewers can actually relate to it. And do you think you were able to fully heal from the feelings of discrimination? Especially you're an adult now and you've gone through a lot of healings already. So, or healing sessions rather. So, do you think you're actually over all those feelings of discrimination or feelings of inferiority?
Yes,
That's
short answer
fantastic.
is yes. But it's a mindset change that one needs to make. And
Mhm.
um, because when we see these happenings as negative,
Mhm.
we start labeling them as negative and we start focusing on them. But if we can change our mindset, and this is a quick NLP lesson, if we can change our mindset to looking at what did this situation teach me? What did I learn from this? What did this person who maybe discriminated against me teach me about myself and about them? Maybe they
Yes.
taught you a characteristic that you did not want or that you do not want. And if that is a lesson that you can take from that, how can it be negative? And that
Exactly.
is the way that I'm trying to live my life. It's not a perfect way. It is the way that works for me. But when I live my life and something negative happens, I ask, what is the lesson? What
Yes.
did I ask for?
Awesome. That's a very fantastic way to look at it, Father. And another thing that I want to ask, of course, in the process of awakening and really gaining the confidence to come out to friends and family, of course, there must have been some guardian that must have given you some form of help to help you pull yourself out of that limited situation. Did you have any experience like that? Because personally, for me, my psychology professor was very helpful in coming out to my family.
Mm. So I have two very close friends who I came out to, and they kind of pushed me to come out to my family and to my parents. So um, they helped me to get to that point. And then I have to say, my parents, they were extremely loving, understanding, um, non-judgmental. And after I came out to them, it didn't really matter anymore.
Yes, amazing. Thank you for that, Father, because I think it's such an important thing to make people, especially the younger generation of the LGBTQI, understand that, of course, in the beginning, there's going to be some form of inconvenience. It's not
Yes,
easy to actually talk about these things to your family. But I know it's true what you said that once you're able to get it out of your chest and be truthful to yourself and to the people that matter most to you, then things become easier from there. So thank
definitely.
you for generously sharing your experience, Father. So those two friends of yours, are they straight or are they gay like you?
They are a straight couple, a husband and wife. Um,
Wow,
very, very dear friends, yes.
awesome. Because I can relate to that feeling where a straight friend would tell you that it's actually not a big deal. But my concern, Father, is, even if people say that it's not a big deal, when you're freshly coming out of your family, there are certain wounds in the past growing up. Especially
Hmm.
you've mentioned about corrective rape, which is really disturbing. It's something that stays in the awareness of the person, so it has to be healed in some way. by someone who's a professional. And I'm really glad that you're there in South Africa. So, whoever is in the position where it's very, very uncomfortable for them emotionally and mentally, someone like you is there to actually help them get over the shock and trauma of that experience. So, I also want us to talk about, Father, what does Christianity say about the LGBTQI presence? Because this has always been an issue, and this is why I wanted us to touch on the subject. Is it something that is really immoral? And what does immoral mean anyway for the Catholic perspective?
Okay. So we need to be very aware of the fact that the Catholic perspective, when we say that, we usually point to the Roman Catholic perspective,
Yes.
and that there are many other Catholic expressions and Orthodox expressions than just the Roman Catholic Church. And by saying that, I'm not negating anything from the Patriarch of Rome and
Mm.
the bishop and the Pope, nor the Roman Catholic Church. But when we look at Catholicism as a whole, there are many, many, many different groups. So our group, for example, falls under the old or the Dutch Catholic community. And
Mm.
if that is true, or with that being true, then morality then becomes a very difficult thing, because we all see morality as slightly different.
Yes.
So many of the answers that you are going to get today are going to be a repeat. We go
Yes.
back to the two commandments that Jesus gave us. And when I look
Yes.
at morality,
Mm.
and anything in my life, I measure it against, is this showing love towards God? Is this
Mm.
showing love towards my neighbor?
Yes.
And that is all. So if I love somebody, and it is not necessarily the expression of love that other people expect, it's not about other people, it is about God.
Mm.
And that is, it sounds a bit up in the air, but that is the complete truth. As long as I'm not hurting anybody else, as long as I'm not hurting myself, and as long as the love proclaims the love to God and it grows the love to God, how can it be wrong?
Yes, exactly. Thank you for that, Father Carol. Because another thing that I want us to talk about, of course, when we talk about LGBTQI, it has something to do with same sex attraction and actually being in an intimate space with someone of the same gender. And
Yes.
the thing that I want us to talk about now is because I get questions like, is being sexually active with the same sex a mortal sin?
Okay. Did Jesus mark it as a mortal sin?
Yeah, that's something that comes up every now and then, especially
Yes.
with clients. Yeah.
Yes. And that is the question. Did Jesus say you are going to hell if you love somebody else? Jesus
Mhm.
said we are going to heaven if we love. There were
Yes.
no extra rules added to that. Those extra rules came when we started mixing up a patriarchal system and a control system, which wanted to force us into a specific way of living. So
Yes.
if I'm physical with somebody else and it is done in love, with respect, and again with the idea of praising God,
Mhm.
sex can be such a beautiful form of praise,
Yes.
then how is it wrong?
Yes. Yes. Thank you for that, Father Carol, because it's something that it's funny for some people why I'm asking these questions. Some people might find it silly, but a lot of people actually need that clarity.
Yes.
And a lot of people want to hear that from someone like you, who's actually an ordained minister and is a priest in some Catholic order. So
Mm,
let me just check our page because there might be questions for you.
sure. And while you
And
check that, I just need to add something to that sentence or to that idea.
yes,
While
yes,
it is
Father.
a beautiful, beautiful expression of love, sexuality, or being
Yes,
sexual and sensual, it does not mean that it is then okay to sleep around.
yes, yes,
So,
of
and
course.
and but again, there's no judgment to those people. Again, I go back to my question: is it hurting myself, and is it hurting somebody else? Am I physical with a person, or am I having sex to fill a need, or am I having sex with a person out of love and
Yes,
again into the exaltation of God?
yes. Thank you for answering that question, Father, because another thing that we need to clarify, because the common question again that comes up after the thing that you said is, if you have sex with someone of the same sex, you're hurting God. So I don't even know where that statement came from, because um, of course both of us were oriented in a certain way, but
Mm,
please shine the light on that particular statement while I check the questions for you.
sure. I'm I don't know how to answer that really. How are you hurting God by expressing love? I think we hurt God when we go against the soul lessons that we decided to learn. And I believe before we are born, we sit and we plan our lives. We plan the experiences that we get. And that is with God. So that when we are born, and again, that is a big answer for me when it comes to, are we born with our sexual orientation? I believe so, yes. And I believe it is done in order to learn specific lessons. So if we express that,
Yes.
how is that wrong?
Yes.
The thing that to me is wrong is if we refuse to live that expression. Um,
Yes.
or rather, okay, if we choose to not live our sexuality as we feel it, but we become basically celibate, that is fine. That is a choice that you can make.
Yeah.
And there's no judgment for that. A lot of people don't want to come out, and that's fine.
Yes.
Uh,
Yes.
I'm not a crusader telling people that you need to, if you have thoughts about other people, you need to come out and say it and be proud about it. Well, you need to be proud, but you don't have to be this crusader.
Yes. Yes.
As
I
long
like.
as you are in
Mhm.
control of your life, and as long as you are happy and at peace, then it is
Yes.
good.
Fantastic. Thank you for clarifying that, Father Carol, because here in the Philippines we have so many adolescent LGBTQI members, and in fact, one of them is a kid of someone very close to me, and when she brought it up with me, I know that part of her really wanted some form of assurance that her daughter is going to turn out okay, because she's a parent and I
Hmm.
used to be one of her students. And apparently, one of the things that she had to deal with was that the daughter was suicidal for fear of not pleasing her parents and for fear of not being acceptable in God's eyes. So, you see, all those things that I want to share to our community, whether you're straight or an LGBTQI individual, those questions are actually valid. And it's so important for you to have the right people to talk to, especially if you're in that space of insecurity and conjuring, you know, things that might actually cause you harm. So thank you so much for that clarification, Father Carol. I have Nadine Benjamin, who's actually a radio host in UK right now. She's saying hi. And one of the things that she mentioned here, she was also constantly bullied when she was younger for her sexuality. And she said that she loves your answer and loves your mindset about change and NLP. And Nadine is asking a question now. What would you say to someone who knows they have to come out and be seen but is afraid of the consequences?
Nadine, I would suggest the first thing that comes up is, why do you have to come out?
Mm-hmm.
If you feel that you have to come out because of your soul calling, then just go sit and become quiet and listen.
Mm-hmm.
Our slogan or our motto is "Ausculta," listen, from Saint Benedict, but it is a very practical thing. Um, Weigh up who you come out to first.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure that you have somebody who is loving,
Mm-hmm.
and that you have that support of at least one person, so that when you face the world as yourself for the first time, you don't necessarily want to or have to do it alone. It's really important to surround yourself with people who love you, and
Yes.
it is not easy for a lot of people. I had it easy. I had a blessed life, and my community is such a beautiful community that I was just enveloped in love. Other people don't have it that easy. But find
Yes.
one person that you can chat to, even if you don't physically know that person. Online there are a lot of support groups. Um, there are a lot of ministers that you can chat to. I mean, um, the church is actually quite welcoming in a lot of instances. So find somebody that you trust, that you know you can open up to, and then from there, plan it carefully and come out in love. Don't come out in defiance.
Yes. All right. What do you mean by don't come out in defiance, Father? How would you actually know that you're not coming out of defiance? That's a very good thing that you raised.
So coming out in defiance, I did that with some of my friends.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and one of my passions is I train in the martial art of Aikido, which is quite a physical art. Um, and I did that in order to protect myself. That was one of the lessons that I learned while growing up, is I can be physical and I can be a warrior monk. But that being said, when I came out to two of my closest friends, um, I contacted one and I said to him, I'm gay and you can't do anything about it, and that's it. And if you want to cut me out of your life, so be it. And that was a very defensive thing. And years later, we spoke, and he told me that it hurt him, that I would think that he would cut me out of his life. So coming out in a very defensive way um, does not help. Come out in love.
All right. So I think I was more of the coming out in love, but now can you give us an example? How does someone actually come out in love to friends or family members?
So I can tell you what happened with myself, my parents.
Mhm.
I went home to visit them. They live in the Orange Free State, a beautiful mountain area here in South Africa. And I made them calming tea. I got the calming tea very specifically for that. And I sat them down and we spoke, and I came out. And about 5 minutes later, they said to me, do you want to see our new workshop? Let's go and see. And that was it. And that is
Mhm.
coming out in love. Um,
Fantastic.
yeah. So the two ways, there are many ways, of course. Find that works for you.
Yes. Father, I want to clarify this because naturally when you have the urge to come out to your family, of course it's something that's premeditated. I'm very sure. You had some form of preparation. So what was it like for you? Was it preparing yourself in prayer? Was it putting it in a journal before actually going to the space of coming out to your parents? What was it like exactly? Because I want people to find out step by step, how do you actually do this?
So for me, it wasn't a big preparation thing. I was bullied
Mm-hmm.
into it by
Mm-hmm.
these two friends of mine who told me, you are doing it this weekend, or otherwise we are telling your parents.
Nice.
So, which was
It was like
beautiful.
a dare.
Yeah. It was needed as well. But at that moment also, I was not very much connected to God.
Mm,
I was moving through a phase of resistance. Um, I was always aware of God, but my focus was not there at all.
yes.
So what I would have liked to do was to be able to go in prayer, um, and to prepare for that space. Yes.
Yes. Thank you so much for that, Father Karen. And I want to read to you some things that our group in the International Metaphysical Ministry, some of our colleagues actually have some opinions or things about the thing that I posted yesterday. And this
Hmm.
is actually the infographic that I posted. Unexpressed emotions don't go away. They become buried alive and come out later during high stress. And this is actually the reason why I wanted us to talk about this. Although, honestly, for a lot of people, it's a relatively difficult topic to talk about. But I wanted us to discuss this because I know that if we're not able to shine the light on this particular topic, especially you and I are representatives of the LGBTQI community. It has happened to me honestly. When I wasn't out to the family, I would act in certain ways that were very unpleasant because I realized for myself that I haven't resolved yet for myself and wasn't brave enough yet to actually tell the world what my preference was. And I know that it's not like I owe the world that explanation about my preference. It's just that you just want to have a closure on your identity. So one of our colleagues, Reverend Victoria, said, "I will be in attendance surrounding you with love and acceptance for all that you are, as written on a hanging wall in my home. Connection, I am you, you are me. Without each other, we are nothing. All is one, all is love. Sending love and blessings up and out." That's for both of us. And Bernice also sent her blessings. And one of our members said, "I'm dealing with some major upheaval in this matter. Evangelical Christian family rejecting me for being a gay son." So I actually invited him to join our group because I just have this instinct to be compassionate to people who are freshly coming out of their family. And especially if the parents are also transitioning from discrimination to being able to accept their children. What do you think about this, Father? Because from my perspective, I realize that parents can have that tendency to react in fear, which is actually masked in such a condescending way towards their gay children, because it is actually out of love, out of
Yeah.
them wanting to protect their children from a possible discrimination outside the family. And I noticed that for my own family. They love me so much, but
Mm.
of course, when I was younger, they were also looking out for my welfare. What can you say about it, Father?
So I pray this on a constant basis, that there will never be a need to come out again.
Yeah.
Where somebody will bring somebody home and say, "This is my partner, this is the one I love." And
Yeah.
the family will say, "Beautiful."
Yeah.
And I do believe that slowly we are heading towards that.
Yeah.
It is not just an idle dream. And the work that we are doing now is hopefully adding towards that outcome.
Yes.
Um, and so yes, the families do love, and a lot of the expression of condescendment is out of love, and it is a mistranslated love,
Yes.
and it is our society, unfortunately, of judgment that makes them scared. It
Yes,
is our
exactly.
society that you know the parents love or the family loves, but then the question comes in: what will the neighbors say? Or what will the minister
Exactly.
say? And
Exactly.
little do they know that the minister and their family are struggling with the same thing.
Yes.
Even more because if you are clergy, then people for some reason look up to you because you are now supposedly holier or you are supposedly closer to God, which is not the truth at all.
Mhm.
For me, being a minister and being clergy means that I am very much human,
Yes.
that I am called to serve. So
Yes.
this pedestal that you are put up on as a clergyman, and I've gone way off topic now, but this is quite important,
It's
is
important. It is.
for me, I am trying to be as human as possible. Sometimes I let out a curse word, and a lot of people have told me that is why they love me, because I don't pretend to be anything other than human. Now, if
Yeah.
that is true, how can we then want the clergy or anybody else to, how can we be scared of their judgment? We have
Yes.
our own issues. So every priest has their own issues. So we're not there to judge. Priests
Yes.
are there and the community is there to love and to spread the message of, if you are Christian, to spread the message of unconditional love of Jesus Christ and the
Yes.
Christ consciousness. So the fear from a family is
Mhm.
mostly external, and
Yes.
that we slowly starting to change, that everybody goes through similar challenges.
Yes. Thank you so much for that, Father Karen. It's such a beautiful thing that you mentioned because I think it's also the case for me because I'm also a minister here in the Philippines, and it's actually quite puzzling for a lot of my friends, especially they're not used to having metaphysical ministers. But the blessing for me is that I have practical magic and the support of V81 Radio
Yes,
Manila and also my co-producers. You know, before I got this show, I was invited to represent the LGBTQI community last June because it was Pride Month. And someone saw the potential of me having my own show. And the reason why I'm mentioning this is because it has a lot to do with uh, Portia de Rossi's statement a couple of years ago. And she was saying, you know, when you're a celebrity or when you're in the limelight, because when
yes,
you're a priest, in your case, of course, you're a public figure, you're handling a community. So, um, although it's just a growing number of followers now for me for the show, I know it's so important for me to remain authentic about
yes,
my strengths and at the same time the aspects of me that are vulnerable because like you mentioned and what your community has mentioned, the redeeming factor for them and the thing that makes them closer to you is that you're accepting that aspect of you which is human, and at the same time there's an aspect to every human being that's actually divine.
yes.
So I want us to move on further to us being divine and also the topic of the Christ consciousness. From your perspective, please explain further what the Christ consciousness is.
Okay. So from a metaphysical point of view, the Christ consciousness is a frequency.
Mhm.
Uh, and we are taught in the White Robe Monks of St. Benedict, when you go through your formation process, you actually learn about different religions and different expressions of God. The Christ consciousness is the frequency of love, of
Mhm.
unconditional love, and that is the frequency of God.
Yes.
That we as Christians or as Christ or as Catholics then focus on, and other people focus on different expressions of God, which are just other frequencies. So when we talk about the Christ consciousness and we bring that concept in for people, it basically just means love without restriction and
Mhm.
love without rules.
Yes. Thank you for clarifying that, Father, because one of the things that you mentioned is loving without rules, because that's an important thing to discuss. Like you mentioned earlier, part of loving and sex is actually an act of love. And part of that is coming into the space where you're intimate with someone whom you love and respect, and you want to nourish some form of, a deeper connection to. But apparently, for a lot of people, there's that feeling of guilt and shame surrounding that particular desire because of all the things that we have been programmed to believe. So, thank you for shining the light on it and explaining further that the Christ consciousness is the consciousness of unconditional love. And another thing, Father, that I want to ask you, because we talked about Jesus, and can you briefly explain about Mary Magdalene and her role in the life of Jesus of Nazareth? Because
Sure.
this is something that people want a lot of clarification on, especially here in the Philippines.
Okay, so this is a journey that it's a very personal journey to me, that I'm on myself, and I'm still learning. And the things that I'm learning are all theories. Some make more sense than others, but the idea is that Mary Magdalene was the first disciple, or the
Wow.
closest disciple to Jesus. We see that when Jesus was crucified, she was there.
Mm-hmm.
We also see that Mary Magdalene anointed Jesus's feet, which
Wow.
is not always done by a sinner, but it is sometimes done by a beloved.
Mm-hmm.
And these things are coming out in the Gospel of Mary and all the other Gospels that are not part of the Bible as we know it, but still are valid and have validity in some of the areas. So the biggest thing also is that the first person that Jesus came out to or appeared to
Mm-hmm.
after his resurrection was Mary Magdalene.
Wow.
And that
Amazing.
means a lot to me.
Yeah.
So I'm still, like I said, on this journey of exploring Mary Magdalene, exploring her role and
Yes.
exploring what she means. This morning at Mass, we read from the Book of Wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
And it is contentious again for a Catholic priest to say that wisdom is the female expression of God called Sophia.
Wow.
But we are learning all of these beautiful, beautiful things.
Mm-hmm.
And if we look at the Bible with a slightly different pair of eyes, with eyes that are not jaded anymore by a patriarchal view, then we start seeing God as not an angry white man sitting in a,
Exactly.
see God as everything, and we see God inside of us. We
Yes.
forget that God is part of us. We are part of God. And if that is true, everything changes.
Yes. Thank you so much for all the beautiful things that you discussed with us tonight, Father Carol. And, I want us to have another interview to talk about the things that you're doing right now in South Africa.
Sure.
And unfortunately, we have a few minutes to, end the show. And I would like to give the floor now for you to talk about the white robe monks of South Africa and the other things that you would like to promote, Father.
Sure. So the White Robe Monks of Saint Benedict is an autonomous abbey.
Mhm.
We have different abbeys. We have just been established as an independent abbey here in South Africa,
What
where
does that mean, Father? An
so we
independent.
have our own abbot and we have our own constitution.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
and my bishop, a beautiful, wonderful, wonderful man, Bishop Oliver, is our abbot. He was chosen to be abbot, and he's going to lead us and grow the community. Um,
Wow.
we are not full-time priests, most of us, so we're
Mhm.
breaking away from this idea that a calling to the priesthood is always a full-time job where you get placed in a parish. What we
Mhm.
do is, as you go through the formation process, you are going to be an independent priest, and you have to create your own chapel. And from that, we then try and minister, and we try and share the love, especially to those people who have been ostracized by their own churches.
Thank you so much for that, Father Carol, because the beauty of what you're talking about now is that I'm very sure that you're going to get people in your Facebook, maybe a friend request, and they would like to ask some more questions. So if they ever want to look for you, what particular website shall they visit?
Okay, our website is wrmosb.co.za.
Mm-hmm.
And they can find all the information there. There's a contact form to contact me and any of the other clergy, and they are most welcome. We welcome everybody, up to even including female priests and bishops.
Wow, female priests. So what do they need to do?
They also called father, but why should there be a difference? We are all human, and we are all called to serve God. So if a female priest is called, we welcome them with open arms.
They are also called father, this female
Yes.
priests. Why is it the case?
And that is a thing that comes with the apostolic succession. Some actually do prefer being called mother, but mother is traditionally a title given to a nun.
Yeah.
So who is the abbess of a church. So the
Awesome.
priest is linked to father. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow, that's really amazing. I'm really happy that we had this conversation. Thank you so much
Okay.
for your precious time, Father Carol. And I also look forward that next time to have Nicholas on the show and some of our friends here in V81 Radio. It's going to be a fantastic time for all of us to chat. And another thing, I would like to thank Unity Philippines Benedictine International School for allowing me to use their facilities the last four episodes. And the next slide, please, Dax. And this is our school, Father Carol. Anything that you would like to say about our university?
So for the Benedictine school, thank you. We also Benedictine monks, and
Oh,
then
wow.
the what? Yes. So we're the monks of Saint Benedict. So it's such a blessing to have you there. I
Wow.
feel close to you now. And then the University of Metaphysics, University of Sedona, is a place that's really close to my heart. I have been a minister with them for 10 years now almost. And the studies that we've done there have really changed my life. And it's changed the way that I perceive life, not just my spirituality, because life is a spiritual exercise. And through the studies with them, you learn so much about you as a person, as a being, and about your connection with God and then with each other.
Yes. Thank you so much. How about the International Metaphysical Ministry? Is there something that you would like to add, Father?
So the International Ministry of Metaphysics, we are quite a diverse group of people, especially if you look at our Facebook page. We are from different religions. Metaphysics does not necessarily focus on one religion. We all learn from each other. And the ministry there for me is so aligned to what we do as monks, and that is to share love, that is to share light and help other people to connect to the light and to connect to their divine selves. And the ministry is a place where you can have very robust discussions as a minister, and you learn so much from each other. It is one of the most cherished places that I have and groups that I belong to.
Yes. Thank you so much, Father Carol. I totally agree with you. And I also want to invite everyone, if you would like to become a life coach, a meditation teacher, I encourage everyone to visit universityofmetaphysics.com and metaphysics.com and universityofsedona.com. And the next slide, please. All right. So here, I just want to share to our viewers that there's an ongoing scholarship for University of Metaphysics. It's actually a degree, a bachelor's degree, a master's degree, and a doctorate degree. If it's something that resonates with you, I suggest that you take advantage of the scholarship program. It's very affordable. So if you want to prepay in full for up to your doctorate degree, you're only paying $990 and you have a family that is global that can actually support your passion for life coaching, mystical research, or science and spirituality. And the next one, please. All right. I also want to thank the following Dr. Anita Caprice, Dr. Diana Vihuni, Dr. Cindy Palos, uh, and also Dr. Yolanda Dux and Jennifer Hill. And, all our guests, especially Father Carel, thank you for being with us tonight. So, this practical magic, we're able to utilize a lot of the things that we have, whether it's a material tool or a spiritual tool, because a lot of our guests have shared the very best of their content so that we can move our lives forward, especially during this interesting time in our global village. So remember, everyone, here in Practical Magic, we remind everyone that you're actually the magic that you've been waiting for. So thank you again to my co-producers and also our team, Dax, Ralph, uh, also Jason, and at the same time, Mites, thank you so much for all your help. And I just want to invite everyone for a simple prayer of protection before we all end the show. So gently close your eyes. Feel the power and presence of the Almighty. And together, let's affirm the light of God surrounds us, the love of God enfolds us, the power of God protects us, the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is and all is well. Thank you, everyone. And before I end the show, I just want to say congratulations to the United States of America. You have a new president, and we're praying that the very best actually comes out for all of you under this new presidency. So thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Thank you so much, Father Carel, and
Thank you.
your ministry. Satnam, everyone.
God bless.
Okay. Yes, thank you.
Consistently delivering the very best in metaphysics. Here in Practical Magic, your practical mystic source. Till next time, only here on V81 Radio, South Manila. Walang kasing saya ang Paskong Pinoy. Dumaan man ang problema at pandemya, kayang-kayang lampasan. Basta't nagdadamayan at nagmamahalan.
Ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas!
Tuloy na tuloy pa rin ang Pasko dito sa V81 Radio, Manila.
Ito ang paborito ng bawat Pilipino. Basta all hits, all Pinoy, panalo. Merong kwentong iyakan at tawanan. Kahit nasaan ka man, ito'y mapapakinggan. Oh, oh, oh. 381 Radio, 381 Radio. Ito ang radio mo, ito ang radio ko. 381 Radio, 381 Radio. Dahil mahal namin kayo. 381 Radio, 381 Radio. Para sa inyo ito, 381 Radio.